Welcome back, Soulmates. In this tutorial we'll be learning how to make this lovely cowl neck blouse with cut together sleeves, so it's a bit slightly different from the regular because it comes with a cut together sleeves. And I also went ahead to attach a belt, inner belt, yes, so that we can snatch the waist the more. So if this looks like what you like to learn, then you need to watch this video to the very end. My name is Veronica Adams Eze. Welcome to Vera Adams YouTube channel. So without wasting time, let's get started. So right here I have the pattern paper. I've gone ahead to draft the basic blouse. If you don't know how to do this, you can check my previous video. I already have a video on how to draft a basic blouse. So the length of this blouse is 23 inches. So right here I'm cutting out, and this is my exact body measurement. So once I'm done cutting out, we can go ahead to tweak it to the cowl effect that we desire. So I'm going to go ahead to slash it open the chest line. Here's the chest line. I'm going to slash it open, but not completely. So the next thing to do right here is to bring in a fresh paper. Then I'll go ahead and place this on it, making sure that the fresh paper and this other paper align at the center from that slashed line downwards. Right here I'm using pins to secure the center front down, so then we can work on the upper part where we slashed. So right here I want a distance of 7 inches. Depending on how well you want the cowl to fall, you can do 5, you can do 10, 11, depending on what you want. But I want a distance of 7 inches right from that slashed line. So once I had the 7 inches, I went ahead to pin the upper part exactly at that point. So I'll go ahead to extend from that point, just as you're seeing me doing here. The next thing to do is to work on the sleeve. So remember that it's a cut together sleeve with this top. So I want the sleeve length to be about 5 inches. So I'm extending the shoulder line by 5 inches. So from that point I'm going to connect it into the armhole. But as I got to that point, I realized that the paper wasn't well laid. That's the part where we slashed open wasn't well laid. So I had to go ahead to remove the pins and then place it properly so that we have everything laying perfect. So that means the lines have changed. You can see that I've gone ahead to draw another line. So we're going to be foregoing the first one. And also for the sleeve, I'm going to go ahead to draw new lines. Yeah. So still marking 5 inches, you can determine the length of the sleeve that you want. I'm going to go ahead to connect right into the armhole, just as you're seeing me doing here. And once that is done, I'll go ahead and trace out the other parts of the blouse, which is the sides. So at this point, I'll go ahead to start cutting out. Watch the way that I'm cutting out. I'm following what you already marked out till we get to the bottom of the blouse. So at this point, I'm going ahead to ensure that I have the round sleeve that I want, so that this part does not become too tight. So you ensure that you have the right round sleeve measurement. And once this is done, I'm going ahead to cut the rest of the blouse out, just as you're seeing me doing here. And at this point we're done. I'm going ahead to remove the pins so that we can have this new pattern out. So here is what the new pattern looks like. Actually, it looks very, very funny. You might think that you don't have the right thing, but not to worry. So at this point, I'm going ahead to notch around the neckline that we cut for the original pattern. This will be very helpful when we are sewing, so you need to notch out that point. So right here is the fabric that I'm using. It's a crepe fabric and it's very light. I think when you use fabric like this, it allows the cowl to drop well. So you shouldn't use a fabric that is heavy. You should actually use a light fabric. So at this point, I've gone ahead to use the pattern paper to cut out the fabric. Actually enjoy pattern drafting because you can actually make corrections on the pattern rather than on the fabric. So when there's any mistake, you can easily correct it, and you can also go back to the pattern paper wherever you want to do that similar design. As you must have noticed, I went ahead to add 1 inch on the side and ½ inch all around. And please make sure that when you're cutting this out, you cut it on fold. Yes, that means you fold the fabric up so that it comes out as one piece. So this blouse is not supposed to come as 2 pieces. It's supposed to be a 1 piece for the front. So I'm going ahead to remember that part that we notched on the pattern paper. I'm going ahead to notch also on the fabric. So here is the initial pattern paper, and what I'm doing right here is to close it off so that I can use it to also cut the back. Actually, I was supposed to cut the back first, but anyways, it's still very okay. So I'm going to also use this pattern paper to cut out the back. But remember that the back would not have the cowl effect, so the back will just be cut like the regular back bodies that we do. I'm sure we know how to work around that. So what I'm doing is I folded the fabric. I also have this fabric on fold because there'll be no need for a zipper, so there's no need for it to come as 2 pieces. I'm also extending the shoulder line, which will be for our sleeve, by 5 inches, just as I did for the front piece. I've also gone ahead to mark the relevant point just as I did for the front, and right here I'm cutting out. I also added ½ inch all around extra for joining the shoulder together, and also for the same allowance, just like that of the front, I added 1 inch. Once this is done, we can move ahead to start stitching together. So here I'm done cutting the back piece. But while I was cutting the neckline for the back piece, I don't know, I just got carried away. So you know how we used to cut the front piece 3x3, it was the same I did. So normally the width for the back is not supposed to be more than 1 or 1.5 inches. So for yours you can do 1 or 1.5 inches, but here actually did 3 inches, but it ended up being fine. So right here I'm going to remove the pin so that we can get to see the fabric alone. So right here is the back piece. See how lovely it looks. So I'm going to go ahead to use bias tape to turn the neckline in. So now that I'm done, and this is what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead to bring in the front piece. So here's what the front piece looks like on fold. I'm going to go ahead to open it up, or rather let me just leave it like this. So this is how it looks. See the shape, the shape is actually looking very funny, but it's fine. Yeah. So I'll go ahead to open this up so that we can start working. So this is how it's going to look at the end. You can see. So remember the notches that we made on the pattern paper. So here it is. I have 1 on the left and 1 on the right. So it is from that point that we start joining the shoulder together. So I've gone ahead to bring in the back piece, and I'm aligning them at that point together, and I'm going to go ahead to use ½ inch to stitch it down on the shoulder line. I'm going to repeat the same process for the other side as well. So right here I'm also aligning the other side together, and I'm also pinning down. I'll also go ahead to stitch this down. Once I'm done stitching, I'm going to bring it to show us what it looks like. So here it is after I was done stitching. I'm sorry you can't really see because I actually used a matching thread, but here's what it looks like on the right side. So this is the neck region. Note that we didn't turn the front neckline, that cowl effect. You can actually go ahead and run an overlock if you have an overlocking machine, but I don't have, so I'm going to leave it like this first till I'm done. So here is what the shoulder line looks like, and then I'll go ahead to bring this piece together and run a stitch from the armhole region like this. I'm going to use 1 inch to sew it in and bring it right into the side to the bottom. I'm going to repeat the same process for the other side. This is actually easy to make. You can make it in a matter of few minutes. So I'll go ahead and run a stitch and then bring it to show us what it looks like. So right at this point, I've gone ahead to sew it down, and I went ahead to cut out the excess because I don't want any bulkiness inside. And around this armpit region, I went ahead to put notches so that it will lay flat on the right side, and this is it on the right side. See how flat it is laying even without ironing yet. So the next thing is to actually hem this sleeve part down so that this place is neat, and also the bottom of the top I'm going to go ahead and fold it inwards just as I'm illustrating here. So here it is after I was done stitching down the bottom and also the sleeve area. It is really hard to see because the thread is actually a matching one, so but here is what it looks like. So I decided to go a bit extra on this, and I went ahead to cut out belt. I think the belt is about 14 inches, yes, no, about 15.5 inches in length and about 2.5 inches in width. So I made 2 pieces of this belt. I went ahead to sew it down off camera, but I'm sure we know how to go about this. This actually looks very short, but I was actually working with what I have left of my fabric. So anyways, I'm going to bring the belt and place it right on the waist area. So here I am pinning it down at the waist area, the rough edge of the belt. One side of the belt is closed, the other sides of the belt actually are closed. So this is the only wrong side of the belt, and I'm going to go ahead to stitch it down on this side, following the same line that we have on the blouse or the top already. I'm also going to repeat the same process for the other side of this top as well, but I'm going to make sure that they both align at the end of the day. Once I'm done pinning down here, I'm going to fold it over to see that they both align. So this is what it looks like after I was done sewing down. So right here I can go ahead to tie the belt, and please note that this is at the back of the dress, and ensure that whatever length you want for your belt, it must not exceed the length of the blouse. If not, it will be so over, to be coming out, and you wouldn't want that. I hope this video was useful. If it was, give it a thumbs up by clicking on the like button. If you're new to this channel, do well to subscribe. And here's what it looks like on a snooker. Remember the rough edges that I had? This is it. I went ahead to tuck it in, so you can actually tuck it in or do an overlock stitch. In my opinion, I think it's best to overlock it so that you don't end up tucking it in each time you wear it or each time your client wears it. So this is what it looks like. If you have any question, do not hesitate to drop it in the comment section. I'll be there to respond to you. Kindly share to friends and family that are also sewmates, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.